If you're a fan of the witches in Discworld and you are a fan of Phantom of the Opera, or at least parodies of Phantom of the Opera, then today's book just might be for you. Today I'll be reviewing Maskerade by Terry Pratchett. Welcome to Subseries Everything. I'm your host, Spencer Duncan. Today, we're taking a look at the 18th book in the Discworld series and the 5th book in the Witches sub-series. And I think I'm about halfway through the Witches series, although to my understanding, I haven't gotten to it yet, but there is a considerable change in just a few books. So I'm getting near the end of at least these main 3 witches that I've been dealing with so far. But I'll let you know when I find out. Like I said, that this book is dealing with some of the most popular characters in all of Discworld with our 3 witches, and it is also a parody of the Phantom of the Opera. Not just the musical itself, but I would say it's a parody of opera and opera going in general, and of course that highfalutin society, which is something that Terry Pratchett is keen on making fun of. I've said before in my videos that I am going to provide a fair synopsis for these videos, which will have some spoilers. I apologize if that's not what you want, but since there's so many books in this series, instead of just saying the things that I like, which is generally the same because I love the humor in them, then I've decided to at least give a decent synopsis to help people understand what is going on in this book. Here is my synopsis for Maskerade. Agnes Nitt leaves Lancre to pursue a singing career at the Opera House in Ankh-Morpork, which had recently been purchased by Seldom Bucket, who was a former cheesemonger. Meanwhile, Granny Weatherwax discovers that Nanny Ogg's wildly popular cookbook has been published without proper payment or credit. To address this and prevent people from mistakenly attributing the book to herself, Granny and Nanny travel to Ankh-Morpork. They also aim to recruit Agnes into their coven to replace Margaret Garlick. As you may recall, she had left upon becoming Queen of Lancre from Lords and Ladies. Nanny believes this trip will keep Granny from becoming overly self-centered. Along the way, they meet Henry Slug, an Ankh-Morpork opera singer posing as the Brindisian Enrico Basilica for career reasons, but longing for Ankh-Morpork cuisine. Granny also intervenes with Death to save the fatally ill son of an innkeeper. At the Opera House, Agnes joins the chorus and meets Christine, a pretty but untalented girl whose father financed Bucket's purchase at the theater. The opera ghost, a long-standing yet previously harmless figure, begins orchestrating suspicious accidents and murders while demanding Christine take leading roles. Due to her exceptional and possibly magical voice, Agnes is asked to secretly sing Christine's parts. After switching rooms with Christine, Agnes unexpectedly receives late-night training sessions from the opera ghost. While Nanny successfully coerces the publisher into paying royalties for her book, the witches investigate the opera house's mysteries. Granny poses as a wealthy patron using Nanny's newfound wealth. Nanny integrates into the staff, and her cat Grebo is temporarily turned into a human companion. Admittedly, this is one of the funniest parts of this book, is having Grebo becoming a human companion. Agnes eventually identifies Walter Plinge, the janitor, as the ghost, but his harmless nature leaves the witches very unconvinced. Another suspect, Andre, turns out to be an undercover Cable Street particular. Granny uncovers that the opera house's chaotic finances were intentionally mismanaged to conceal theft. The murders served either as distractions or to cover up evidence. It is revealed that 2 people were behind the ghostly acts. Walter Plinge, the original and innocent ghost, was manipulated by Mr. Salzella, the director of music, who used the ghost persona to commit theft and murder while framing Walter. With the witch's help, Walter overcomes his fears and defeats Salzella, who dies during a staged duel, believing the swordplay to be real. Before his death, Salzella delivers a dramatic monologue expressing his hatred of opera. Walter takes over as the new director of music, blending his compositions with opera to create musicals. Slug abandons his Enrico Basilica persona, reunites with his childhood sweetheart Angelina Lossi, and reconnects with his estranged son Henry Lossi. Realizing she doesn't belong in the opera world, Agnes returns to Lancre to train as a witch under Granny and join the Lancre coven as its 3rd member. Just like any of the Discworld books, it is full of lots of fun little tidbits of humor and commentary, and I don't know what else to tell you at these points by these books if you don't already enjoy them. This is in the Witches series, so I would certainly recommend this for anyone that enjoys the Witches series up to this point. I think this is generally considered one of the best books in all of Discworld, or at least I'd certainly put it in the top half. It is a witches book, which I personally enjoy. Then again, I enjoy all these books. I've yet to read one that I don't care for, at least to some degree or another. I will share some of my favorite lines from it as usual, because I think that is, of course, one of Terry Pratchett's great strengths. It's just these little bits that he throws in there. For example, he says, his progress through life was hampered by his tremendous sense of his own ignorance, a disability which affects all too few. The IQ of a mob, oh, this is one of my absolute favorite lines. The IQ of a mob is the IQ of its most stupid member divided by the number of mobsters. I think that is true. I think mob mentality is usually greatly driven by the least informed and least intelligent. This is for my misanthropes out there. People who didn't need people needed people around to know that they were the kind of people who didn't need people. And then there is this great line that I think encapsulates the relationship of the coven, which is always full of disputes. I believe it's Nanny that says, "You needed at least 3 witches for a coven. 2 witches was just an argument." And then finally, this is one of my favorite lines in all of Discworld about finances. It says, "Other people salted away money for their old age, but Nanny preferred to accumulate memories." And I find that hard to argue with in many respects. Not that I, promote complete fiscal irresponsibility. I just think that we could certainly all spend a little more money on a good memory. So, who is this one for? Well, as usual, it's for fans of Discworld, it's for fans of the witches, and it is for fans of the fact that it's a very direct parody of Phantom of the Opera. Not all of the books have such direct parallels to what exactly they are parodying. Sometimes it's a much broader topic. For example, in The Lost Continent, they are parodying the whole continent of Australia, or sometimes it's an amalgamation of things. And so this one, it could certainly be appealing to you if you are okay with the fact that it's parodying something that a lot of people really like. A lot of people love Phantom of the Opera, and maybe they won't take so kindly to this, blatant mockery of Phantom of the Opera. But then again, you may have a reasonable sense of humor and can enjoy it. It isn't for people that are not fans of Discworld. This is, in many ways, a quintessential Discworld novel, though it is for people that are still trying to dip their toe into Discworld and deciding what they want. I've always recommended that The Witches be one that people take a look at. Although it is the 5th one in that series, and I do recommend that you go back to the previous ones, although they're not super interconnected. There are events from the previous ones that are going to have an impact on each book. Like I said, Magra she has just become queen in Lords and Ladies of Lancre, and so she herself does not play a significant role in this one. So it would help if you've read Lords and Ladies to know that. But the majority of the humor and the purpose of these books, you don't really need to know all the books that came before it, but I would recommend that you read the ones before this to fully appreciate this. But I still think you would probably be entertained if you just pick this up and read it, if you think that Discworld is your type of thing. But that is totally up to you. I can't say for sure what exactly people are going to like. But I would really like to know what you guys think about this one in particular, of course, about the Witches subseries, or about Discworld as a whole. Please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and until next time, keep those pages turning.